I'm Rick Buck and I've been a dentist for 17 years. Today, I'm going to show you the actual results of the best whitening method and products to get your teeth as white as possible. I will also show you how to minimize any possible negative side effects. This is my wife's teeth 7 months before our whitening experiment that I'm going to show you in just a minute. Her teeth are pretty white even though she hadn't whitened them in years. And they're kind of close to this S6 shade. I will use this same shade guide during the rest of this video. But S6 is a really light shade for a tooth. You can see with the S10 shade that her teeth are whiter than the S10. But her teeth are also close to an S8 shade, and that is because she doesn't drink wine, coffee, tea, soda, and she doesn't smoke. Well, so that I can do this experiment, we had my wife drink diet soda over the following 7 months. And you can see that the same S6 shade that we have to compare it to, that her teeth are now more yellow and darker. Now, let's find their new shade and baseline, since this is the day before we start bleaching. And that base shade is what we will continue to use to compare the results for the rest of the experiment moving forward. You can see the teeth are definitely more yellow than the shade S8. But S10 and S12 look around the same color of the teeth, generally speaking, because teeth have so many different colors and shades in them. S14, if we compare that, looks also like it's kind of close. But now I want you to look a little more at the detail in this picture for a second. Can you see the darker spot on the left central incisor, this spot right here? For some reason, that spot is much darker than the rest of her teeth and even the rest of this same tooth. That spot is close to an S24 and probably even darker. For the rest of the video, we want to focus on the overall shade of the tooth, but more importantly, that dark spot too, to see how dramatic of results we can get. Okay, now I'm going to whiten the teeth using 44% carbamide peroxide by my brand called Ezzy High Concentration Whitening, because carbamide peroxide will stay active for 6 to 8 hours or even longer. 44% carbamide peroxide is the strongest concentration of carbamide peroxide that you can buy. If you watch my videos about the best way to safely whiten, you have seen the studies that show whitening your teeth for longer periods of time will get them whiter than using higher concentration of whiteners, even whiter than the high concentrations used in a dental office. In one of those videos, I even show you how to make cheap bleach trays like the ones you get at the dental office at home. Basically, after you form the bleach tray on your teeth, you want to make little notches about 1 millimeter in depth in the center of each tooth of the whitening tray that you make. When you add the bleach to those notches, they will act as little reservoirs for the bleach to supply peroxide to your teeth continually throughout each bleaching session. So here we are right before starting the bleach. You can see how yellow the teeth are, and that dark spot is prominent, and then this is where she puts the bleach tray in, and the gel kind of seeps all around but fills those reservoirs too. So now we fast forward 2 hours later, and then we're done with the bleaching. So we take the trays out, and then we rinse out the gel out of our mouth and start to compare. You can already tell how much it whitened that dark spot. Now, one thing I didn't mention earlier that's important is in all of these pictures, I keep the lighting and camera settings the same through this whole experiment, and I don't adjust anything with Photoshop. I also always incorporate the shade guide into each shot, and this is all just to keep the video honest so you can see that my results are real. But here's a picture with that base S22 shade of the dark spot. Now, these results are good, but the problem is you're not supposed to take a shade right after bleaching. Look at these two pictures, and this is right after 2 hours of bleaching with 44% carbamide peroxide, because the teeth are whiter right after bleaching, and they'll get a little darker over the next 12 to 24 hours as the teeth start to rehydrate because they got so dehydrated from the peroxide. So here we are 24 hours later after we have done the first whitening. As far as the results go, you can still see the dark spot, but it is obviously faded and not near as bad and dark as it was. So now let's skip to the results after day 2 of whitening. So we did another 2-hour session. The spot is almost gone, but the overall whiteness has not had much of a change. So now let's skip to day 3, and something happens on day 3. Overall, the shade gets much wider and much closer to S8, with the spot barely even there. Day 4 doesn't seem like much of a change either, nor does day 5 really change much. So day 6 looks like things have gotten a hair wider, and it is pretty dang close to S8 in shade after day 6. Because if you compare it to S10 on day 6, you can see it is definitely lighter than S10 on day 6. Quickly, before I get to the most interesting part, I developed the best toothbrush, floss, and other dental products that are in Amazon affiliate links in the description. Those dental products will give you a stunningly clean mouth. You should watch my videos about why they are the best, posted at the end of this video, so you brush and floss with superior results. Then here is 24 hours after bleaching on day 7. I mean, at this point, the dark spot is gone, but otherwise it looks pretty much the same. Now here I'm just gonna skip through the next 5 bleaching sessions pretty fast, but you can just see that it only gets a little bit wider on these 5 days, like just barely. So now we're gonna switch our bleaching session so that it's 4 hours. And from the results 24 hours later, you can immediately notice with more time per session, the teeth are starting to whiten again. They're not stalled like they were at 2 hours. Also, all the small whitening or abnormalities like the spot in the beginning are really blended in now. You can't even see them. And here are the results 24 hours after another 4-hour session. And you can see they may even be slightly wider than the S8 shade now, generally speaking. And then we do it again, and here the teeth are 24 hours after another 4-hour session. And so now you're seeing we're starting to stall again in the results, like they're just kind of staying at the same as they were for the other 4-hour whitening sessions. But we know because of months before that we can get the teeth wider than this. Now we've whitened a lot of days consecutively, so we're going to give it a rest for about a month because there are negative side effects on bleaching too much. So watch my videos on how to bleach safely and the actual process we go through each day so that you do this safely and don't harm your teeth. Now on the last day, we switch to bleaching for 8 hours overnight. Here are the results of that. You can see they are now wider than the S8 shade. And in fact, they are the S6 shade again. And let's compare that to the color we started with. Now, it doesn't look super dramatic. A lot of people are used to seeing photoshopped images, but it's also less dramatic because of the retractor and you can only see the teeth. So let's now compare the smile without the retractor. Now, these are really great results, and this is, once again, after one session of 8-hour whitening. And we could have gotten them even wider, but the message should be clear. Nothing can replace the amount of time whitener sits on your teeth, not even the concentration. So my favorite whiteners are the 44% carbon peroxide, like my whitener called Ezzy that can be found on Amazon. You can also now watch the video I did on myself to see my own results, where I whiten my teeth from a darker shade only at 8 hours a day. And once again, my video on how to do this responsibly and safely. Watch all my daily tooth care videos I have posted now for the best techniques, tips, and products for a stunningly clean mouth that avoids tooth decay and gum disease and gives you fresh breath. My dental products are in Amazon affiliate links in the description below, and if in Southern California, my dental office is in the description as well. If you're a dentist with a digital scanner, my brother's incredible dental lab is in the description, and he can work with you anywhere inside the United States. Like and subscribe to my channel if you have teeth.